Just a quick discussion about the sanitation district meetings and what's on the latest on deep well injection. You know that on March the 10th, the City Council got together at the calling of the West Ranch folks, and they wanted to withdraw the site as the West Ranch site and the original site as appropriate sites for deep well injection, and realized that when they did that, and Lorraine West made the resolution, they did not indicate that they would look at alternate methodologies, only that they would look for a new site. And supposedly, when we asked why they did that, it was because our council members said they didn't want to tie the hands of their negotiators. But so at the March 11th meeting, they had a sanitation district meeting, and I asked some questions. I've been asking these questions at several different times. I asked the same questions at the Newhall School Board meeting, and I want to know, I said, how much money have you already spent on the two DWI sites, two deep well injection sites that you won't be able to use? How much money have you already wasted? And how much money do you intend to spend on finding another deep well injection site? And they don't answer. And lastly, I asked him, if the sanitation district feels that deep well injection is such a low risk in inducing earthquakes, or are they willing to indemnify the residents of Santa Cruz Valley for any financial loss that may occur, directly or indirectly, from deep well injection? And of course, they're silent. They don't give you any answer. You know, I notice every time that the city goes out and they do something, like for example, when they were trying to make the billboard deal, they wanted the billboard companies to indemnify them, make sure, you know, take care of any legal problems I might have. But here, when it's the other way around, when the shoe's on the other foot, and you want to say, hey, is there a risk here? And I say the risk is very low, they're not even willing to talk about it. But at that sanitation district meeting, they just asked to look for another deep well injection site. Probably can't read that. That's the whole text of Lorraine West's motion. But there was no mention of evaluating alternate solutions. Now, sometimes I've gotten to the point where I like to go back and look at what some of these people say at some of these different meetings. So when I show up at the meeting, I've been known to bring in a video camera. So I videoed the March 11th meeting. And when I went to the April 8th meeting, I also had my video camera pointed at the podium. I asked questions. I said, why isn't the sanitation district looking at alternate methods of brine disposal as well as deep well injection? And Director West's response was, well, wait a minute. We at the board on the last meeting on the 11th, we directed the staff to evaluate alternate disposal methods at the March 11th meeting. And General Manager Hyde confirmed it. She said, absolutely, we were told that. Well, certainly doesn't reflect it in the minutes. And when I went back and looked at the video, it certainly doesn't reflect it in the video. But you know what? I'll take them at their word for a little bit here. We'll see what's going on. So why wasn't, if that was the case, if they were really directed to look for alternate things instead of just looking for new deep well injection sites, why wasn't it in the minutes of the meeting? Well, it probably wasn't in the minutes of the meeting because it didn't happen. But now they're saying it did. And that's part of what we need to keep watching. You know, one of the things that one of the West Ranch folks talked to me about during during their discussions of deep well injection was, be careful of what your politicians say. Look at how they vote. Forget about what they tell you they're going to do. Look at what they voted to do. All right? And it's not the first time that I've realized that, but it brought it home a lot more, and I'm going to do that now all the time. Because I remember, you know, the 2001 landscape maintenance district election when they said, we're going to go create standard medians throughout the valley. And they didn't do it. And they're trying to do it now, but they didn't do it then. And I remember when they created the open space district, and they told us what the open space money was going to be for. And then later on, when I read the engineer's report, said something entirely different. So we need to be very careful, and we need to make sure that's a good thing. And so I just want you to remember, both meetings were videotaped. I'm going to take those sections and I'm going to put them out on YouTube so you can see exactly what gets said as well. And I'm going to send a letter to General Manager Hyde. They probably were going to know that when they watch the video before they actually get the letter, because they do watch these videos. And I'm going to say, look, if that really happened, why don't you amend the minutes? Because in actuality, what they've been saying is this. They've been talking about it in passing. Are you going to evaluate alternate locations? Yes. We're going to come up with a new EIR. You're going to evaluate alternate methods. Well, the EIR process says we need to evaluate everything. So yeah, yeah, of course. But then if you look at what they vote on, it doesn't say that at all. The next sanitation board meeting is May the 10th, and we need to pack the room. We need to go make sure that our sanitation district folks know that what we want. And we want them to just not look for another site, but look for alternate methods as well, and we can go discuss what is the best fit for Santa Clarita. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think what's going to happen if we don't do that is simply they're going to do whatever they want, and then when we say, wait a minute, I thought you promised us, they're going to say, well, in minutes. So we're going to do something else. By the way, Mr. Petzold attended the Regional Water Quality Board meeting where the sanitation district presented the changes, letting them know that a deep well injection site had been turned down and that they were having to do other things to determine a site, and they committed to still make the end date. But I heard also that there was a discussion in small part. Alan Cameron told me there was a discussion about our sanitation district's effluent and where it was going to, and how it was going to be given to CLWA. And so it's interesting. We got to watch both those things. We got to watch the sanitation district agendas to see what kind of deal they're going to make. And we got to go meet them at the May 10th meeting and tell them what they're going to do. Because what we're going to do, I'm going to give you a second. I'm going to let you hear in just a second. Because next month, we're going to talk about the agreement that the city of Santa Clarita entered into with the Regional Water Board about the water being pumped out of Shangri-La. And you're going to find that they make some very interesting agreements that hamstring us today, and you have to wonder why they did it. So, Steve, you want to talk about that?
You said May 10th. That's a Sunday. Is that correct?
May the 10th?
Next sanitation board meeting?
Sunday.
I think it's the second, third Wednesday is this meeting.
Well, that's the date I heard, May the 10th. If it's wrong, well, that would be a normal thing for them to do. Put it on Mother's Day on a holiday. I'll go back and re-verify that date. And what date do you have?
Well, your sign up there says the 10th, and I'm looking at my calendar and it says May 10th is a Sunday.
What date did you think, Steve?
I didn't say.
All right, I'll go back and revalidate the date. Like I said, I took it off of what I heard. I'll go back and look at the video, and I will include in the minutes. I will include in the video links of these presentations go back and either re-verify what it is or give you the real date. Okay? I'll find out. Yes, sir.
It is on, okay. I had heard the same time that they pulled the going to the deep well injection, that in a sort of a panic, they got together and went to a certain senator in Sacramento to see about going to the ocean, Ventura. Now, the interesting thing about going to the ocean is that about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, Castaic Lake Water Agency was looking at a plant, and then the salt brine would go to the ocean of Ventura. And their longtime consultant cost the system out, and he said to go to the ocean, the pipeline would be $50 million. Well, when we first started this campaign with the Sand District, which is since then, more recently, the Sand District wanted us to allow them to do something closer in that was supposed to be less expensive. So they said a pipe to the ocean was $500 million. There's the difference there.
Well, if the pipeline to the ocean is 50 million,
Yeah.
I say do it. Because the cost in the EIR of doing deep well injection is 42 million. Okay? So, but the whole thing is that they also have the option of just building a 37.5 mile pipeline to the joint outfall system. And they don't have to go all the way to the ocean. They don't have to build the outfall in the ocean. It's already there. They just need to hook up with the sanitation district.
Yeah, fine.
Yes, sir.
I'll just give my short report since I took the time to go down to Los Angeles to visit the Regional Water Quality Control Board. And that is that we were not well represented there. There was no member of the Santa Clarita Valley Sanitation Board there. There was not, Lorene West was not there, Marcia McLean was there, not there, Mike Antonovich was not there. But there were 3 representatives from the Ventura County downstream interests that were saying, you adopted these deadlines. We expect you to abide by these deadlines and to start fining the Santa Clarita folks on these guidelines. Now, the date that they seemed to indicate that they wanted to start that was based on November 2016, which I guess is about the time at which the plant was supposed to be permitted. Are you familiar with that at all?
Supposed to be built by 2019.
Yeah, but the construction and testing is supposed to be done by November 8th, 2016, and that's the date at which they indicated that they wanted the Regional Water Quality Control Board to start fining the Santa Clarita Valley Sanitation District. Now, without taking up too much time, the whole reason I went down there was that in the last sentence of the permitting process, it said that the Regional Water Board may not revise the TMDL within the permit, but will consider making modifications to the TMDL and subsequently the permit upon request from the Sanitation District, Santa Clarita Valley Sanitation District. So I was intrigued by that, thinking that that was an opening for raising the TMDL as an alternative to any of these wild, pump it here, pump it there, pump it down, pump it up, whatever the... we did not get a full hearing there. They spent 4 hours. They said that this would not be heard until after 1 o'clock. It wasn't until 4:15 that they finished up with the Los Angeles River, in which case they actually raised the level for copper in the Los Angeles River, that they said, okay, well, we're going to do Santa Clarita now. And then 2 board members said, well, we got to leave at 5. So they lost their quorum at 5. So they brought in this speed reader to go through the permit and read it to the board. And then I noticed that they actually struck that last sentence about raising the TMDL for the Santa Clarita Valley Sanitation District. So those were the things. I felt like the Ventura interest, they brought 3 people up. One was from a county supervisor, one was Mike Solomon from United Water, and the other one was an agricultural interest. They came and testified and said, we are sick of this and we want the people in Santa Clarita to be fined according to the schedule that they had adopted for the deep well injection. And they met with a very positive response from 2 board members there, Fran Diamond and another lady that lives in
Glickfield.
Malibu. What?
Glickfield.
Yeah, right, that's her name.
See,
So,
how did I know? Go ahead.
So they have the noose ready in November of 2016.
The plant will not be built and operating in November 16.
I know, we know that. So
Huh?
I don't want to take any more time, but it's a real conundrum that we're in.
Okay. When they went through the EIR process, they gave us dates, and they went, if you remember, they went through the rate adjustment discussions, and the way the rate adjustments work is to provide part of the money as the construction goes along. I'll go pull out all those dates, and next month I'll give them to you, because it's 2019 by the time the plant's going to be operating. It's not going to operate in 2000. They won't even have the plans done in 2016.
Alan, could you explain to me exactly what will go on in Shangri-La Drive? I didn't understand. You spoke too fast for me.
I'm sorry.
What's going on in Shangri-La?
Shangri-La, well, right now, they pump 67,000 gallons a day out from under Shangri-La to stabilize the mountain. When they built it, they disturbed an underground spring, and to keep the mountain from sliding down onto Soledad, they do what they call dewatering. They pump out from underneath it. That's been going on for quite a while. And actually, it's been going. In 2012, the staff from the Regional Water Board met with the staff from Santa Clarita, and they reached agreement that Santa Clarita would pay $815,000 in a fee for having dumped this water that they took out of the ground into the river, and Santa Clarita agreed also to put it in our sewer system. So right now, that's what's going on. But we'll go through that agreement at the next meeting, because I think you're going to find it interesting. There's things that the city agreed to in that agreement that hamstrings us today. And I'm not really sure legally if it hamstrings us from arguing the TMDL change. But in that agreement, the city of Santa Clarita agreed not to challenge the TMDL. And so I don't know if that means they can't challenge it just for the Shangri-La water, or they can't challenge it in total. Also, when you go look at, when I get this video online and they're talking about TMDL changes, Sam Unger was at the meeting, and Sam Unger said, you know what, we're changing the TMDL for the output of the Saugus plant. We're moving it to 150 milligrams per liter. And we're doing it because there is no beneficial agricultural use in the area. So I got up and said, wait a minute, if you're doing that, that changes the size of the project. And then the sanitation district guys get up and say, oh no, that just means we can dump it in there, but we still have to average it under 100 milligrams per liter. That's not what Sam said. So there's a lot of confusion going on. And you'll get to see it. I'll make sure that it's available for you to see. But we know when that next meeting is, and we need to be there. Yes, Judy?
Explain TMDL.
TMDL, total maximum daily load. It's just the amount of something. In this case, it's the amount of chloride. Chloride can't be more than 100 milligrams of chloride per liter of water. So there you go. Yeah, Cam.
I wanted to bring up the fact that they have canceled Site A, which was by Stevenson Ranch and Westridge. And they have tried two sites there. And this is, I'm afraid, is causing confusion. First, it was in a significant ecological area, which they aren't allowed to build in. And then they had the protest when they wanted to put it on the 16th hole of the golf course. But there is another Site B, which is going to put the well starting on Railroad Avenue, Bouquet, close to Whitaker Bermite site, and would go under Valencia all the way to McBean Parkway. I have been after them to say, has that been taken off the books? They say yes at a meeting. I cannot get them to document it in writing. They're saying, we're not going to put it, we said we're not going to put it under homes. But I'm afraid that they're going to come back with a high pressure, we've got to do this or we're going to be fined, and they'll be throwing up their hands and saying there's nothing else we can do, and try to put it there. In
Yeah.
fact, I'm trying right now to get it confirmed in an email.
Distance-wise, how far would you say it was from Bouquet and Soledad to the Valencia Water Treatment Plant?
To the which plant?
The Valencia Water Treatment Plant.
Oh, I
How far
wouldn't
would
have
you
any
say that
idea.
is?
It's quite far. Yeah.
How much? Between 3 and 5, because every mile that they extend the distance of that deep well injection well field from the water treatment plant adds $2.2 million to cost. That's if you can build it straight, as a crow flies, and you can't do that. So that's another issue. How much is it going to cost? We're getting close to the end. Let me run through the rest of this really quickly. I know this is an issue, but remember, what our elected officials tell us they do does not always agree with what they actually do. So we need to hold them accountable, and we need to always make sure that we understand what they are doing.